We just sailed on the new Oceania Allura, which carries just 1,200 passengers, focuses on food over entertainment, and caters to a more mature crowd, with 75% of the passengers aged 65 or older. So, we're breaking down what surprised us and whether this ship delivers on its premium price point up next. Welcome aboard. I'm Don B from Eat Sleep Cruise. And after more than 100 cruises on ships carrying as few as 200 people up to megaships carrying 7,000 people plus, we were very interested to see how the new luxury ship Oceania Allura compares to those previous experiences. Now, at 68,000 gross tons, Allura is roughly one-third the size of the megaships we typically sail on. And for even more perspective, the world's largest Icon-class ships carry over 5,600 passengers at double occupancy, or nearly 5 times more passengers. So with that said, on Oceania Allura, you're sharing pools, bars, dining venues, and deck space with far fewer passengers than we're used to. Fewer guests means a better passenger-to-space ratio that feels social but not crowded. Besides size and space, Allura has some other noticeable differences. There's actually 12 distinct dining experiences for just 1,200 passengers. All dining, even specialty restaurants, is complimentary, similar to the model on Virgin Voyages. There's actually no inside cabins either. Every stateroom is outward facing with a veranda. And part of that extra space actually comes inside your stateroom. The standard cabins are larger, approximately 290 square feet, versus typical cabins that are around 200 square feet on other cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, Princess Cruises, or Celebrity Cruises. Oceania Cruises isn't adults only like, say, Virgin Voyages or Viking Cruises. Kids are allowed, but there are no dedicated kid spaces on Allura. The adult spaces for socializing, relaxing, and rejuvenating are not competing with kids clubs in water parks. And as a couple in our 40s, we really appreciated the overall vibe and chill atmosphere on the ship. Now, did we miss the attractions and amusements of the ships we typically sail on? Well, we'll touch on that later in this video. Perhaps the biggest bonus of sailing on this luxury ship is that there is more inclusions than mainstream cruise lines with no nickel and diming. Now, unlike some other cruise lines like Viking, there are more onboard amenities, especially on this brand new ship. Allura does have a sports deck with a pickleball court, a putting green, and shuffleboard. There's also a pretty well-stocked gym and even a small casino. So there's more to do on the ship than you might expect. On the other hand, you won't find Broadway-style productions in the main theater. And we'll talk a little bit more about the entertainment a little later in this video. Instead, there's art workshops in the artist loft, cooking classes in the culinary center, guest lectures, and light live music in the evenings. So if an Oceania Allura cruise is right for you, really doesn't come down to age, at least in our opinion. It really comes down to what you value most in a cruise vacation. If you're a subscriber to this channel, then you know we talk a lot about the dining. And side note, if you're not already a subscriber, what are you waiting for? Make sure to subscribe down below and to give this video a big thumbs up. So how did Oceania's dining compare to the likes of other luxury and premium brands we sailed with? Well, Oceania bills itself as offering the finest cuisine at sea. In fact, half the crew is actually dedicated to culinary operations. Now, in all honesty, I don't know what the ratio for culinary operations is on other cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, Princess, or Holland America, but I highly doubt it's half of the onboard crew. But of course, it goes beyond just the crew. With a variety, no upcharges, and attention to detail, Oceania delivers personalized and refined dining experiences. Unfortunately, during this preview cruise as guests of Oceania, we weren't able to test out all the dining options, but we did our best to sample as much as possible. Across the 12 different dining options, there's a pretty typical main dining room, 4 complimentary specialty restaurants, a coffee shop and bakery, and a few additional dining venues. In fact, there are more dining venues than I expected. Some older megaships don't even offer this type of variety and certainly don't offer this type of quality. Now, the grand dining room is just that. It's the elegant main dining room, which serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is a brand new ship, and as part of this ship's rollout, the cruise line introduced hundreds of new recipes for the main dining room. There's also staples like the line's signature Eggs Benedict for breakfast, along with more traditional items. And for dinner, there's elevated menu items like oysters Rockefeller, barbecued short rib, and a nightly pasta selection, along with standards like steak, salmon, and chicken. We ate at the Grand Dining Room for breakfast and dinner each once, and for the extravagant Grand Brunch, which only occurs on longer sailings and special holiday cruises. While our breakfast in the Grand Dining Room was rather average, we did enjoy our dinner selections. And what's not to love about endless seafood, crepes, pasta, and dessert at the Grand Brunch? And while the Grand Dining Room was good, perhaps the best dining experiences on the ship are the specialty restaurants. Now, on most contemporary and even premium cruise lines, specialty dining costs between $40 and $75 per person. On Allura, the 4 specialty restaurants are always complimentary. Guests can choose from the American Steakhouse Polo Grill, the Italian Toscana, featuring its own olive oil menu, the Asian-infused red ginger with some new Peruvian flavors, and the French Jacques. Jacques is a new rendition of this Oceania favorite, featuring a refreshed menu with some dishes even prepared tableside. During our time on board, we dined at Red Ginger and Polo Grill. At Red Ginger, I enjoyed the beef teriyaki, and we both enjoyed the side dishes of fried rice and udon noodles, although our appetizers and desserts were just pretty standard. However, our dining experience at Polo Grill was top-notch. The French onion soup might be the best we've ever had, and the Caesar salad prepared tableside was a nice touch. My signature surf and turf was cooked to perfection, and the Baked Alaska and Polo Quartet were the perfect sweet endings to our meal on the Showcase cruise. Regardless of the restaurant, the menus felt modern, updated, and definitely had elevated menu items that you don't typically find on a premium or mainstream cruise line. So regardless of your age, if you're a foodie, you will really enjoy all of the restaurants on Allura. Now, we have sailed on other cruise lines that cater to a little bit older demographic, like Viking or Holland America Line. And one place we feel those cruise lines sometimes fall short is the casual dining. But that wasn't necessarily the case here on Allura. Even the casual venues felt more elevated. One of the new additions that differentiates Allura from other ships in the Oceania fleet is the creperie. The creperie serves French crepes, Belgian waffles, and gelato. And yes, this is all included in the cruise fare. Let's just say Heidi and I could not resist going back for seconds of the bubble waffles and salted caramel gelato. These are must-try items. There's also the Aquamar Kitchen, which is a wellness-inspired venue with menu selections like avocado toast, smoothies, poke bowls, and salads. It's a nice healthy alternative for breakfast and lunch. At least, that's how we justified getting dessert from the creperie afterwards. Terrace Cafe is Allura's buffet, which is open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For breakfast, guests will find all the typical selections, along with a custom egg and omelet station. At lunch and dinner, guests can enjoy a variety of cuisine, with distinct stations including a grill, carving station, pasta bar, and other hot and cold selection. There's even sushi and lobster on the grill on select nights for dinner. Additionally, there's the Waves Grill, which serves gourmet burgers and sandwiches poolside for lunch, and then turns into a pizzeria during evening hours. And whatever you do, you need to grab the Surf and Turf Waves Grill burger. It's their signature burger that includes a filet mignon burger with lobster tail on top. As you might know, Heidi and I are big coffee drinkers, so we frequented baristas and the nearby bakery several times a day, at least for coffee, although it was hard to resist many of the items in this updated bakery, which offers fresh baked pastries, like some irresistible almond croissants, eclairs, and a daily featured quiche. Casual dining selections are certainly a step above the offerings on other mainstream cruise lines, and you're going to like them regardless of how old you are. Now, if you've cruised before, you know cruise ship cabins by nature, they tend to be pretty cozy. And if you're used to a typical cruise ship cabin balcony, as I mentioned earlier, those tend to be around 200 square feet. So even if you have an entry-level stateroom on Allura, you're going to notice the difference in space right away. Oceania claims to offer the most spacious standard staterooms at sea at 290 square feet, which honestly is the size of some mini suites and even suites on other cruise lines. We stayed in a concierge level veranda stateroom on deck 9, suite 9073. While this category does come with some extra concierge level perks, all cabins on Oceania Allura features a tranquility bed, sitting area, and spacious bathroom. The oversized bathroom features a large vanity, marble finishes, and a rainforest shower. All Oceania staterooms include Aquamar bath products. robes and slippers, free room service, and complimentary soda and Vero water replaced daily. Additional concierge privileges include free laundry service, access to Aquamar Spa Terrace, which is beautiful, expanded in-room dining menu, among others. The cabin felt modern, upscale, and roomy with a neutral color palette and luxurious appointments. Definitely not the loud and flashy stateroom design you might see on some contemporary cruise lines, which was perfectly fine with us. The bed was comfy, as was the upgraded balcony furniture. However, while considerably larger, we did feel that the extra square footage in the cabin wasn't all functional space. We certainly appreciated the larger shower, which was a welcome change from the often tiny cruise ship showers. However, personally, we could have done without the additional vanity near the toilet, which featured a medicine cabinet and small drawers that didn't seem to serve much purpose. I don't know, maybe more mature travelers have more toiletries that they pack? I don't know, but it did seem like a waste of space. We wish the space would have been afforded to the closet instead. Given that Oceania offers longer itineraries, we were surprised to see just one closet with a full-length clothes bar. There are no shelves or drawers to stow away packing cubes and shoes. While there were a few drawers on the desk and nightstands, they were too small to fit our packing cubes with folded clothing, underwear, and other such items. Now, we do pack a lot of gear. We have our computers, our cameras, our cell phones, and I was happy to find that there were several power outlets and USB outlets throughout our stateroom. It's true that if you're coming from megaships, you're giving up a lot when it comes to activities, entertainment, and nightlife, but perhaps not as much as you would think. Sure, there are no waterslides or a racetrack, and there are no Broadway productions, pool deck parties, or belly flop contests, which, let's be honest, even those things are starting to get pretty dated on a contemporary cruise line. But as we mentioned earlier, Allura does have a casino, a sports deck with amenities like a running track, pickleball, and a putting green, and a fitness center with state-of-the-art equipment, and group fitness classes are included in the cruise fare, again, similar to Virgin Voyages. And while the dining, staterooms, overall sports decks, and vibe appeal to cruisers we believe of all ages, when it comes to the onboard entertainment and the pace, it is definitely slower with less structured things to do. So if you're someone who values high energy activities and thrills and needs constant stimulation, you could be bored on an Oceania cruise ship by the second or third day. However, what you do gain in space by not having all that other amusements and attractions is enrichment, evening entertainment where you can actually get a seat, and other public venues that guests can take advantage of to make their own entertainment and activities during the sailings. The Allura Lounge serves as the main theater and hosts regular shows and performances. During our cruise, we were able to see two shows, Flashback and Our World. Flashback featured 4 singers and a cast of dance performers with songs from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And Our World celebrated music from around the globe with a string quartet accompanying the production cast. While we never had issues finding a seat at the shows, the theater did lack appropriate pitch, making it difficult to see over others' heads in front of us. And as far as the quality of the shows, they were basically on par with what we expected, not to the caliber of the full productions and cast you see on other cruise lines, but still worthy of your time and watchable if you're looking for something to do after dinner. The ship's bars and lounges are the main gathering spots. Perhaps the most popular is Martini's, which is the piano bar serving martinis and live music in an intimate setting. There's also the Founders Bar, which specializes in craft cocktails. It's located off the casino and connects to the Grand Lounge. If you're looking for smoked drinks or those Instagram-worthy cocktails, this is the place to be. It is rather small though, so we often grabbed our drinks and headed over to the Grand Lounge to listen to live pre-dinner music from a string quartet. Horizons is the observation lounge at the front of the ship. During the day, it's a venue for afternoon tea or relaxation with panoramic views. In the evening, there's live music from the house band, and it becomes a popular gathering spot for cocktails and even late-night karaoke. Where the cruise line separates itself even further from typical mainstream cruise lines is the daytime activities. Now, we already mentioned that along with guest lecturers, Oceania Allura has 2 dedicated venues with hands-on activities, the Culinary Center and the Artist Loft. The Culinary Center is Oceania's teaching kitchen where guests can take cooking classes led by trained chefs. However, these are an upcharge. These aren't demonstrations where you watch, you actually prepare the dishes alongside the instructor. Unfortunately, all the classes were sold out during our sailing because I really wanted to try this out. As a few years ago, I actually did the Carnival Kitchen on a Carnival cruise ship, and it was a lot of fun. And there's also the Artist Loft, which hosts art classes and workshops throughout the cruise, and unfortunately, none of those were being held during our trip. Additionally, Allura has a library, which is now in a new location near Horizons, and features alluring ocean views. Haha, see what we did there? It's a great place to read a book, grab a board game, or work on a puzzle. There's also the Aquamar Spa and Vitality Center. The Aquamar Spa offers a full menu of treatments, along with the spa terrace and salon services. The spa terrace is a good-sized outdoor space with whirlpools, stone loungers, and plenty of upgraded lounge furniture for relaxing on a sea day or after a long day of touring ashore. So the bottom line, the passenger to space ratio on Allura means you'll never fight for a deck chair or struggle to find a quiet corner. But that comes at the cost of variety and energy. Though you can entertain yourself with a book, a good conversation, and enriching activities, you'll likely appreciate the slower pace on the ship, especially given many of the sailings are port intensive with very few sea days, so you don't really need a lot to do while on the ship, which is a welcome change of pace for us because we always feel the pressure when sailing on larger ships to try to do, see, and experience everything on the ship, as well as doing and seeing as much as possible at each port of call, meaning we return from our vacation needing a vacation. Another differentiator for Oceania cruises is its more inclusive nature. Similar to other small ship cruise lines that we've sailed on, there's a lot covered in the standard cruise fare. When it comes to Oceania Cruises inclusions, the Your World Included package bundles in many things that cost extra on most cruise lines. And these include, as we mentioned, specialty coffee, soda, juices, still and sparkling Vero water, Starlink Wi-Fi, which actually worked surprisingly well, in-room dining, smoothies and milkshakes, pet gelato and gourmet ice cream, all 4 specialty restaurants, group fitness classes, gratuities, self-service laundrettes. Plus, with the current promotions, you have either your choice of beer and wine at lunch and dinner, or a pretty generous shore excursion credit. And the cruise line does offer drink packages, so guests who choose the beer and wine at lunch and dinner can upgrade to the prestige beverage package for premium spirits and cocktails. Now, when you add up what we typically spend on a megaship for specialty dining, beverages, Wi-Fi, and gratuities, the price difference between this luxury brand and other premium cruise ships does shrink considerably. For instance, we looked at a sample 7-day Caribbean voyage in January 2027 on Allura, and entry-level staterooms were starting around $2,799 per guest, and on a 7-day Mediterranean voyage this summer, prices started around $3,699 per guest. Admittedly, Oceania Cruises' target market is well-traveled individuals who are 65 and older. As a couple in our 40s, we're here to tell you that you don't have to be that demographic to enjoy an Oceania cruise. If you're looking for an immersive, destination-rich itinerary, Oceania could be a perfect fit. If you like smaller, more intimate ships with luxurious finishes and personalized hospitality, Oceania is a great choice as well. So if you find a great itinerary or this appeals to you, go for it and book it regardless of your age. And while Oceania does have some great ships, its website, on the other hand, isn't the easiest to navigate. So if you're interested in booking a cruise on Allura or one of their ships, the cruise experts at our travel partner, MAI Travel, are here to help. We love working with our personal cruise consultant, Blair, who navigates all the options to find the ideal cruise line, ship, and itinerary while making sure we get the best available price and helps us take advantage of any promotions or inclusions. So scan the QR code right on the screen to get your free no obligation quote, or watch one of our latest cruise tips video right here on YouTube. That way, your next cruise will be smooth sailing.